Is JuveTress really a scam, as some people claim? And if it actually works, is it really worth $80 per bottle? Well, here's my analysis. Hello everyone, this is Olive from Health Recommendations, bringing you the latest product reviews in the health niche. So if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. Also, you can find my full review if you go to my website howtogetgreathair.com or by following the link in the description box from below. Okay, so let's get back to JuveTress. I analyzed this product in detail and I'm going to divide my analysis in two parts. I'm going to start with a quick summary and then I'm going to go to the full review. First of all, this product's full name is JuveTress Revitalizing Hair Therapy, which means one thing, that it's designed for thinning hair that lacks volume and it is caused by aging. Now, I know most of you think that this product is meant for hair loss or for hair growth, but that's definitely not the case. It's only designed for thinning hair caused by aging. And to be honest, it actually does a pretty good job when it comes to this. It increases volume, it adds density, and it actually makes hair look a lot thicker. But obviously, it couldn't be perfect. And its biggest problem is when it comes to price, because it actually costs about $80 per bottle, which is really expensive. For this reason, JuveTress isn't actually a product I would recommend, even though it does a really good job when it comes to aging hair. But it's just extremely expensive for most people's budget, so unless you're on a really large budget, I don't actually recommend it. But now that you know my main opinion about it, it's time to get to my full analysis. As most topical products, JuveTress doesn't have a very clear formula. It contains about 50 different ingredients, but most of them are inactive. As for the active ones, I actually found 3. I'm talking about radon, which is a complex that promotes thickness and density. There's also Chinese skullcap. This is actually a herb that has a great effect against thinning hair caused by aging, so that's exactly what JuveTress is designed for. And lastly, there's microsil volume, which is another complex meant to increase shine and add volume. So, since most of its other ingredients are inactive, I would actually say that these 3 ingredients I mentioned are the responsible for JuveTress effect. Overall, I would say that this formula is pretty good compared to other topical products, so I think it deserves a high rating if you ask me. This product has a really pleasant fragrance, to be honest. It smells like a mix of herbs and it's not very intense, but it is strong enough to stay in your hair for a while. However, its biggest problem is consistency, and by this I mean that it's really thick and it gets absorbed quite slowly. That's why JuveTress isn't actually a product you can apply in 2 minutes because it's not going to soak in this time. So there's one more thing. Since it has a really thick consistency, it tends to leave hair quite greasy. So if your hair is kind of oily, I would not recommend this product because it's going to make it even greasier. JuveTress label offers some really clear directions. You actually have to use this product 2 times a day, which isn't very pleasant and very comfortable. When it comes to the directions themselves, you will have to start by applying a quarter-size amount of the product on your hand, then apply it on your scalp and use your fingers to massage in order to spread the product. Now, the method itself is quite simple, quite easy, everyone can do it, but the fact that you have to apply the product twice a day isn't really nice because most of us don't have a lot of free time, so applying this kind of product 2 times a day can be a bit annoying and uncomfortable. But that's it. That's what you have to do in order to use this product. So you have to follow these instructions if you want the best results. Even though I use JuveTress myself, I would say that my results with it weren't completely relevant, and here's what I mean. I used to deal with hair loss and thinning, but these were not caused by aging because I was in my 20s when all this happened. So JuveTress is actually designed for aging hair, and I was using it only for my hair problems on a young hair. That's why I would say that you shouldn't count only on my results when making a decision on this product. But even so, I only used one bottle of JuveTress and I could actually see some results. My hair had a lot more volume, it felt thicker, and I noticed that I wasn't losing as many hairs as I usually would. So if it actually worked for my hair type, I'm pretty sure it works even better for aging hair. That's why in terms of results, it's a product that I would personally recommend and I would probably use again, but not in my case. Since my results with JuveTress weren't completely relevant, I decided to look at other people's experience with this product so that I could give you an unbiased view of it. To be honest, I was quite disappointed by the reviews I found because most of them were negative and they were related to JuveTress effect, which made me think that it does not work as well as I initially thought. Now, most of the real reviews I found were on Haya and Reviewopedia. I did check Amazon, but I could only find one real review, so there was no point counting on it. But overall, I found about 50% positive reviews and 50% negative reviews, which isn't an amazing customer feedback, to be honest. So I don't think JuveTress is as good as I initially thought in terms of results. Now, the most common complaints I found on JuveTress were related to side effects, and I could include here itching and dandruff. These were the most common ones. Then I could also find enough complaints about its effect. Apparently it worked pretty badly for a lot of people. And on the other hand, I found lots of negative reviews related to its price. Lots of people consider that it's way too expensive for its actual quality, and I pretty much tend to agree here. But overall, since it has so many complaints, I don't think JuveTress is as good as I initially thought, so I'm not really sure if I would recommend it in terms of other people's opinions on it. Honestly, JuveTress is a very expensive topical product. It's actually one of the priciest hair products I came across lately. Its standard price is $79 per bottle, and there's also worth mentioning that you have to apply it twice a day, so one bottle isn't going to last a month, it's going to run out a lot faster. So in the end, you're going to have to pay more than $80 per month, which is definitely a lot, and that's extremely unaffordable for most of us. So this is the main reason why I don't recommend this product, no matter how good it was. So, is JuveTress a scam or not? Well, in my opinion, it's completely legit. I've used it myself and I've seen its effects on my hair, so in my opinion, it definitely works. However, it's not a product I would recommend because it has two main drawbacks. I'm talking about its really huge price and the fact that it's extremely hard to apply, it's really thick and it leaves hair really greasy. Now, I'm pretty sure it works for aging hair, even though some customer reviews claims it doesn't work so well, but it definitely works for some, so I couldn't possibly consider it a scam. However, I'm aware that most of you are not going to afford JuveTress, and that's completely fine. So instead of using it, I would probably go for a supplement because it has a much better effect when it comes to shedding, thinning, or aging hair. Since it works from the outside, it actually treats the real cause of the problem, and the major advantage it has is that it's extremely cheap. You can find it for even $18 per bottle, which is definitely a really low price when it comes to supplements. So compared to JuveTress, it's a lot more affordable, and it's definitely a much better choice even on the long term. That's why I consider this supplement the best choice among hair products at this point. As for JuveTress, it's definitely not a scam. It does work, but only in certain circumstances. So if you're on a large budget and you afford trying it, I do recommend it. But that's pretty much the only situation. Otherwise, it's not one of the products that I would go for. but it's definitely up to you whether you want to try it or not. So that's pretty much my opinion on it. I hope you enjoyed this review and see you next time.